Hello, Pisces. Welcome to your January soul session and whatnot, or whatever. We're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards and see what is going on for you all, okay, in the month of January. We're starting out with your overall theme as well as your challenge. And hopefully my lighting and camera work with me. They haven't been. I haven't figured it out yet. But our overall energy, okay, rider weight is liked. The overall energy for the month of January is the Three of Cuppies, and that is challenged by interesting. We have the Queen of Wands in the reverse as our challenge for the month. So what it is looking like, Pisces, more or less the theme of you guys month is going to be community. It's gonna, well, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be community, but it's gonna involve community. It's gonna involve family. It's gonna involve friends, celebrating with them. So this could be speaking specifically to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, spending time with your family and things of the sort, and that kind of carrying throughout the month. This can also be speaking to that more or less being your intention. So say hypothetically, if leading up into, this particular time frame, if you will, if you've been kind of solitary, not really like hanging out with your friends, not spending a lot of time with your partner or even your kiddos, whatever the case, but people who are more or less like close to you and are like a support system, it could be it's either throughout 2023 or towards the latter part of 2023. You guys kind of more or less being in a solitary position, or it could potentially be like working towards something. So say hypothetically, if you were saving for like a house, right? So you were working a lot of overtime at work, or if you were in school, because people graduate in December, right? I think, yeah, they do have graduations in December for like college and stuff. So even if that's the case, if you guys had been, in school and you ended up being like a December graduate, so now it's like, your time's freed up and you're able to actually like fraternize and whatnot. That more or less could be the thing, but it feels to me more or less kind of like a reunion with people, and I'm picking this up intuitively, but it feels to me more or less either a celebratory month or a reunion with people that there's been some sort of distance with, but it doesn't feel to me like it doesn't feel like there's some sort of a breakdown or something like that. It just feels like, we've kind of gone our not I wouldn't even say gone our separate ways. It feels more like a separation due to circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Not that anyone has done anything. It's just, being busy or things of the sort. And there being a desire to kind of mend those fences or repair those bridges, if I could say it that way. Now, the challenge that I'm seeing here with this Queen of Wands in the reverse, the first thing I'm hearing with this specifically is burnout, but the other thing I'm picking up on with this is this could be a particular person. It could be, a fire sign female, and that can be well, not can be, but it would be Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius. And I do feel kind of I mean, it could be a mother figure or it could just be somebody older than you, but I do feel with this a little bit of bitterness, if I could say it that way. So this would be one of those things where if I could give an example of what this would look like, this is like, okay, so say you were in school, right? So you go back to college, and you're finishing your degree, super busy, writing a thesis, whatever, and you have a friend who, like, you have a group of friends, right? And all of your friends are completely understanding, but there's like this one friend who is totally embittered by it, right? So she's just like, yeah, I understand that you in school, but you could have checked on your girl. You could have said hello. You could have done more than sent like a happy birthday text. You could have called, right? So I feel in the midst of this, The issue could potentially be, and like I'm stressing, I don't feel on Pisces end that there's anything malicious or angry or anything like that that you have towards anyone. It just feels that you kind of fell off into the background. But the challenge with this particular person is, and I feel like this would not be a shock to you, like this this person behaving this way is not out of character. Like this is something that you've witnessed them do before. This is a way of being that you've seen them enact in before. So this is like this wouldn't shock you, but it's more or less like a heads up of saying that with this particular person, um they're like, you could call up everyone else and they're going to be like, oh yeah, hey, let's hang out this weekend, but this person is going to be like, well, I actually had plans this weekend, so I'm busy, type of deal. And the thing I know about Pisces, because I always say this, I have two besties that are Pisces. My mom is a Pisces, right? And I feel like Pisces have this thing like Taurus does too, because I'm a Taurus. And with Tauruses and with Pisces, we have like this obliviousness thing. And I feel like it's even worse if you're an INFJ. I'm also an INFJ. But and my Pisces bestie is also an INFJ, one of them at least. And the thing that I notice with us is there's this pervasive like obliviousness, right? So if someone tries to get us to like read between the lines, you know what I'm saying? Like we just don't get it. It just goes completely over our head. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel with this person, it's like, them responding that way because it's hella passive aggressive. Let me just be honest, right? And it's really funny because I just heard Leo. So it might be a Leo person, but that's interesting. But it's hella passive aggressive what they're doing. But I'm just letting you know, Pisces, like when this person is doing this, trying to get attention, because I feel like what they're trying to provoke out of you is like, gosh, this is so funny. It's like the person is like self-righteous, right? So in their mind, they feel like they're right and you're wrong. You feel what I'm saying? So when you call them and you're like, hey, do you want to hang out this weekend? They're going to be like, like I said, like, oh, I have plans. And it could be a couple of times that they do that. Now, why they are doing that is because they're being passive aggressive and they're wanting you to realize what it is that you've done wrong, right? Now, mind you, you've done nothing wrong, nor do you see or think that you've done anything wrong. So I feel like the first couple of times, this is going to go completely over your head because of the, Piscean INFJ oblivious, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Had no idea you were trying to send me a message, right? And I feel with this particular person, that's going to kind of infuriate them because it's going to be like, oh, so that's the type of game that she won't play. You know what I'm saying? But I feel for whoever resonates with this message, like, this person, like in your friend group, exactly who it is that I'm talking about. Because even if you've never experienced them doing it to you, which I doubt, but if you've never experienced them doing this specifically to you, you have seen them do this to other people. Like you've witnessed them doing this to other people. So it's just more or less a heads up about that. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, so don't be disappointed, and don't allow yourself to feel as if you've done something wrong, because how this kind of fracture, do I really want to use the word fracture, but how this, we'll just say fracture so I don't sit here trying to find the proper word. But this kind of fracture or hiccup in this particular relationship, the way that this would be healed, it would really be on the other person's side, to be honest with you. I mean, of course, you guys would have a conversation about it, but this person would have to change their perspective because they're giving me kind of clingy friend vibes. You know what I'm saying? And everyone knows someone like that, where it's like a fixed mindset and they're self-righteous, like I said, and they have this perception of like they're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, or feeling wronged and stuff like that by other people. I don't know. But anywho, let's go ahead and look at you guys' central energy. So your central energy, oh, good Lord in America. What is happening? Your central energy for the month. Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh, my camera's being so nice today. We have the King of Wands in the reverse, and that's representing you. That's interesting. Now, how I was feeling like this kind of burnout kind of energy, oh wow, this might be a thing, child. Wait a minute. Mm. Okay. Anywho, I'm feeling like how I was saying this burnout energy with this Queen of Wands in the reverse. I'm seeing this with this King of Wands, and this is specifically representing you. And why this is kind of worrisome, because I'm saying this whole thing with this person very tongue in cheek. What's a little bit concerning for me seeing this King of Wands come up representing you, Pisces, is that it kind of puts you in the energy of like you're not with the shits. Okay. So if we go back to our scenario with our person who, has been in college, right? And you just graduated. It's like you want to reconnect with your people because it's almost like a desire for like restore my soul, like a restoration kind of vibe going on here. And it's almost like, being around your people is rejuvenating in some sense or another. But what's kind of alarming to me about this person here is almost like, um, what is it, like the perfect storm or like a recipe for disaster? Because your level of burnout because of everything you've been doing up to this point, and this person's like, the first word that came to me was like bitchiness. So we'll just go with it. So this person's like bitchiness, nitpickiness type of thing going on. I do kind of feel so that's probably why that's coming out, because it's so strange for me to go so in depth for a challenge card. But that's probably why that would be coming out, because it's kind of giving you a heads up, because like to be forewarned is to be forearmed, right? So for you guys to be aware, especially like me saying that you guys already know exactly who it is that I'm talking about, I think it would behoove you to be conscious of this person and where their headspace is kind of at, so that it doesn't catch you off guard. You know what I'm saying? Because how I'm talking about this like obliviousness, right? It's almost like with that obliviousness, if this person, like, the three times you invite them somewhere and they're saying this stuff because they're, trying to get you to read between the lines, and you're not getting it, if like that fourth time they flash on you type of thing, because like how I was saying with them, each time that you don't acknowledge their passive aggression, it's like they're going to get even more pissed. It's like I can see how those two could come together and create kind of like a powder keg, because hypothetically that fourth time you invite them somewhere and like they click out on you, it's like them hitting you at the absolute wrong time, because it's like you're completely burned out from stuff going on in your life. This person feels a way, so they click on you, and it's almost like that just creates a whole big thing that could potentially be avoided with you guys being aware of the situation. So that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting from this. So be aware of that, Pisces. Anywho, the card we have coming into this present moment. So this is representing the latter part of December 2023, or collectively the latter part of 2023 in general. We have the Four of Cuppies, and you guys conscious energy, interesting. We have the Seven of Cups, and you guys hidden influences, which you don't know is happening. We have the Sun. Okay, I was just talking so good about you. I was speaking so well about you, camera. Okay, thank you. You need to be nice to your electronics. Tell them you love them every day. Anyway, and then moving forward, and we can look at this either midpoint of January. And I'm thinking about that now because in the latter part of January, I'm doing love readings. So this technically is for the whole month. But if you want to look at this from the 1st through the 15th and, look at the love picking up from 15th to the 30th, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Going forward into either the midpoint of the month up until, oh, dagnabbit, up until February. There we go. We have the 10 of Swords in the reverse. So here's the dealio, Pisces. So coming out of the latter part of 2023, and I would still say now a little bit, there's a little bit of stagnation for you guys. And that's why I feel like you guys are kind of wanting to be around people, like I said, family or friends, people that you care about, that, you know, celebrate you, that uplift you, that, you know, speak life into you. Because I do feel like you guys are at a bit of a crossroads or an impasse in your life. And this is interesting because it feels almost like, if I were to remove us from the school situation, right, and kind of put this in the context of just kind of getting sucked up into life, it's almost like it feels to me Pisces has been heavily focused on something throughout the course of 2023. Coming into 2024, and even if you aren't aware of this, if there isn't this inherent desire, because I can see this too with the sun in the reverse, if there isn't, okay, let me make this clear. So if we look at the whole scenario that I'm talking about with the person who, hypothetical person who's in school, that would be like one group of Pisces who are aware of this lack of contentment, right? And it's like their first order of business is like, I need to go to my people because my people uplift me, type of deal. Now, this other group that I'm seeing kind of manifest in our more centralized energy, this would be someone where you haven't quite figured out, like, oh yes, I need to go to my people. You know what I'm saying? This message would more or less be telling this other group that you should go to your people, if that's making sense. Because I feel with this other group of Pisces I'm picking up on, it's a level of disillusionment that you're feeling. So it's kind of like working on something, even if it's just working, right? It's like you're working a job, like you're waking up same time every day, you have the same routine, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel for this other group that I'm seeing more. So it's like the first group I'm seeing more in the theme and the challenge, and the second group I'm seeing more in the centralized energy cards, right? So with this group, it's kind of like you've come to a place, like at the latter part of the year, what is the word I'm looking for? It's like apathetic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a pervasive feeling of apathy that has consumed you, where you've just become very, or your perception of life is very monotonous and humdrum, same shit, different day. You know, it's almost like, if you think about, those of you who are familiar, my people my age, the movie Office Space, it kind of reminds me of like the main character in the movie Office Space. Like it's just the same old every day. And it's like you've kind of fallen into this routine, and it's a desire to get out of this, but it's not really knowing how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So the message for you guys, and this is interesting how this is kind of turning, the message for you guys would be, and it kind of reminds me of something I heard my pastor say eons ago, that whenever you get lost in life, go back to the last thing that God told you. And I mean, for some of you guys, it could literally be going back to the last thing Spirit told you. But other than that, I feel it's almost like representative of, like I said, your people, your friend group, your family, because I feel in your doings and goings on and stuff like that, you've kind of gotten, and I can see this where this is interesting. This this second group of Pisces, this to me doesn't involve other people at all. It's like this very much is reflective of like your masculine and feminine energy. And it's like on both ends, they're both burned out, because it's almost like you've been doing so much without a purpose or a clear end goal or a clear why, that in January you're finding yourself in this place. And I really feel like you started feeling this way, like I said, in the latter part of 2023. It's like you found yourself in this place to where you really don't know what's next. You really don't know like you find yourself at the crossroads and you don't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't even know what you want anymore. It's almost like you're waking up every day and fulfilling responsibilities, but there's really no why. It's like you're doing it because you should ought supposed to, or you have to. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to pay the bills, you have to take care of the kids, or your boss needs you, or your coworkers need you. Like this is just what I'm supposed to do. But the thing is that I feel like the messages that you're intended to acknowledge is with this in the hidden influence, with the sun in the reverse is saying. Most of you guys know who've been watching me for a while. I always say that the sun in the reverse is like my half-hearted happiness card. So this is when you possess all of the material trappings of life. Like you have a nice job, you have, a nice car, you have a nice house, like you're able to pay your bills on time, but it's like you're everything's just you know what I'm saying? Like there's no drive or passion behind what you're doing. You're just fulfilling obligations, but there isn't like something that sets you on fire, like something that sets your soul on fire, that you're getting up every morning for, that you're, like ferociously fighting towards. And I feel that's why this burnout has kind of happened. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like being on a hamster wheel. It's like you're consistently doing and you're tiring yourself out and exhausting yourself, but there isn't really an end goal in sight. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever we have an end goal in sight, and we do end up overexerting ourselves, it's within reason because there's an expiration date on it. So kind of like how I was saying in the beginning, if you were working super hard all of 2023 and working overtime, and the ironic thing about this is, before I stopped recording and left YouTube, so this was like in the early part of 2023 or the latter part of 2022. I did a reading for Leo that was identical to this. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but it was identical to this because I was telling them how like they were doing too much of stuff and had completely lost sight of why they were doing it and completely wearing themselves out in a sense. So I'm gonna try to see if I could find that. But anyway, the thing that I'm saying with this is it's like if you're working to buy a house, then that is your reason. So if your end goal was by the end of 2023 I'm gonna have $6,000 to put a down payment on my house, right? The expiration date for that is the 31st of December, right? So that means, why did we work overtime since January to get the $6,000? Now it's the 31st, we have the $6,000. So that means come, January 1, we can go back to our normal work schedule. So even though we were exhausted for those 12 months, it was within reason because we had an end to it. And now we can go back to, resting and leisure time, things of the sort. But if we don't have an end goal or an expiration date, then you would come into January doing the same thing that you were doing all through 2023. Then you end up completely exhausted, disillusioned, and burned out, and there's no reason for it. And I feel with this group of Pisces, you're tired out, you're burned out. It's like you're confused and you don't know why. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel what the forewarning with this is, with this 10 of Swords in the reverse that's going into the midpoint of the month or pervasive into the latter part of January. Well, we'll just say the end part of January, child. But it's like with this 10 of Swords in the reverse is saying, it's more or less like, I don't want to say it that way. I'm just gonna say it. What I heard was like, this is proverbial, by the way. It's like you're gonna unalive yourself, right? Proverbially speaking, not literally. It's just meaning that you're gonna push yourself to your limit to where you're not gonna have anything left to give anymore. You feel what I'm saying? And this isn't anything that anyone else is doing to you. This is something that you're doing to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this is ironic too, because whether it's in like my work with clients or just like people in my life, I find it fascinating with a lot of the similarities that they have between Tauruses and Pisces, because I adore them, right? The thing that I find fascinating in conversations I'm always having with Pisces people is there's a very ginormous line in the sand of how much a Taurian is going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're helpful, we're loyal, we're going to be there for you. But when it comes to a point to where it's like, whoa, okay, this is taxing here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have my leisure time anymore. It's like we're going to cut it out immediately. But I'm always fascinated with Pisces because it's like you guys don't have like that hard stop. You know what I'm saying? It's and I know that's just the way you guys are built, but it's I find myself more often than not like empowering Pisces to know, like, dude, you have the right to say no. Like, it's like because it's the thought of like I'm gonna be a bad son or a bad daughter or a bad mom, dad, a bad, auntie, uncle, employee, whatever. It's like I'm gonna be a bad insert thing or position if I don't do this. And it's like, okay, so what? Or who defined like what the standard is of what a good insert role that you play is, you know what I'm saying? And is the world going to crumble if you don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of self-sacrificing that I see. And it's like I understand that's how you're built but at the same time, if it is what I'm seeing with this 10 of swords in the reverse, if this is something that is robbing you of vitality, robbing you of happiness, fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? Um, that's something that you really have to look at. And that's what I feel like the whole message is here, Pisces. I feel like the message is here is you need to look at the symptoms, right? Like the King of Wands in the reverse, this Four of Cups, and the Seven of Cups. So the confusion in your mind, right? Not knowing up from down, left from right, not knowing what you want, not knowing what you need, right? Feeling extremely apathetic and disengaged from everything, not wanting, that's depression, by the way, like not wanting to hang out with your friends, things that you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy anymore. And it's like your entire life is just sucked up into either doing absolutely nothing or drinking or you know what I'm saying, like just watching life, because they're showing me this correlation between this Four of Cups with this Three of Cups. So it's almost like you guys sitting on the sidelines and like watching things that you used to be involved in, but not engaging with them. And so this is almost like what I was saying with the first group in the reverse. It's like if you have friends who are reaching out to you, who are trying to, you know what I'm saying, be a part of your life. And I could even see how you guys could fall into this embittered energy with this Queen of Wands in the reverse. Not so much in like the passive aggressive friend, but like the person who doesn't want to engage and stuff like that. So there's people who are trying to pull you out of your shell and you're resistant to it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like these are symptoms of the deeper problem. The deeper problem is that you're not really happy. You're not really fulfilled where it is that you are in your life right now, or with the way that your life is going. You feel what I'm saying? But it's not seeing that this apathy or this confusion is a warning sign trying to tell you, hey, we need to go back to the drawing board because this isn't it. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have to get to a place to where you're in the Sun card upright. You know what I'm saying? Of where there's a rhyme and a reason and an end goal and what it is that you're doing, as opposed to just showing up every day, because eventually you're going to hit a wall with this. You know what I'm saying? So this feels to me more or less like a forewarning, Pisces, to kind of get clear of where it is that you're at and acknowledging that. And the overall purpose for this would be for you to get back into alignment and to kind of balance out these energies. You know what I'm saying? Being in more of like a receptive kind of space. And of course, you guys always know that I say that if ever you've come to a place to where, you've tried to kind of get out of this funk and you can't get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Despite what you've done, that's when it's one of those times for you to reach out to your friendly local neighborhood therapist. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be me. You know what I'm saying? But legit, like reaching out to someone and getting assistance with it, there's no shame in that. If you find that you can't get yourself out of this funk, because if you continue this way, it's just not going to be good for you. So I really see this as a time, Pisces, that it's like you guys are called this month coming into 2024 to reconnect with yourself. But I feel like the medium in which you can do that is by reconnecting with people who reflect like life and light and happiness and vitality back to you, if that's making sense. But anywho, that has been your soul session for January. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later, probably in the next, soul session. Okay.